Like the video and subscribe to our channel right now and get 1 week of amazing luck. When you see these ridiculously big creatures, it will become clear why enormous always stands out in the world. Huge beasts maintained as pets by bold and intrepid people. Wait to view the unusually enormous animals mankind kept. Number 20. Giant huntsman spider. Most people can't even fathom facing an ordinary little spider, let alone this beast. With a leg width of well over a foot, the enormous huntsman spider is the biggest spider in the world by that standard. Here, the extra long legs are used for purposes other than frightening people. You can only see so far with good eyesight in the dark caves where the spiders live. The legs play a key role in this since they are all very sensitive to even the slightest movement surrounding the spiders. Number 19. Maine coons. Locals from the American state of Maine. Large stature and a thick coat are two characteristics of Maine coons. Before the Savannah cat was introduced in the 1980s, the breed known as the gentle giant held the title of the largest domestic cat breed for the longest time. Due to the arrival of other long-haired varieties in the early 20th century, the breed had previously been in danger of going extinct. Fortunately, this never happened, and the breed has since grown to be one of the most well-liked across the globe as well as in the United States. In general, male Maine Coons weigh an average of 13 pounds and can reach heights of up to 40 inches. Apart from that, these cats are essentially domestic cats who enjoy hugs and long naps. Number 18. Goliath frog. The Goliath frog is also in danger of going extinct since it is sought for food and used as pets. It has proven to be more hassle than it's worth to be the largest frog species living. Frogs can weigh up to 7 pounds on average, making them roughly the same size as some cats. Due to their timid nature and inability to reproduce in captivity, conservation attempts for these frog kings haven't exactly been successful. Number 17. Elephant. This tiny elephant is naturally weaker because he hasn't yet grown to the gigantic 7-ton weight typical of African elephants. But as you can see, he's already more of a handful than the typical pet. He has outgrown his couch and now finds it too simple to knock things over and clean up after himself. In addition, he occupies so much space that it will be intriguing to watch him whenever he is old enough to enter the house. The baby elephant, named Moyo, was saved from a flooded river when it was just a few days old. Sadly, no sign of his family could be found. Number 16. Continental giant rabbit. Although the continental giant rabbit pales in comparison to an elephant, it is right up there with the well-known Flemish giant among its rabbit family members. It weighs around 16 pounds on average, although some of the biggest have been recorded to weigh up to 20 pounds. For example, the heaviest known continental giant was 53 pounds, which is roughly the weight of some German shepherds. Despite only being initially documented in the late 19th century, the breed is one of the oldest, probably dating back to the 16th century. The Flemish giant, as well as the now extinct European Patagonian and redstone rabbit, may have been used in its breeding. Number 15. Galapagos giant tortoise. As much as your next favorite furry friend, huge species of tortoises like a good rubdown. The largest Galapagos tortoises can weigh up to 500 pounds, making them the undisputed titan of the tortoise family. In addition to this, these tortoises are renowned for living a very long time. Over 100 years is not uncommon, and several Galapagos tortoises have been documented to live far longer. For instance, the oldest passed away at the age of 175. They are native to the Galapagos Islands, as their name suggests, and only visit there once a month. According to National Geographic, the original 250,000 wild tortoises have been reduced to barely 15,000 now. Number 14. Crocodile. While terrifying, a pet croc is undoubtedly no match for a rampaging rooster. Your chances of surviving against a crocodilian opponent may not be zero, but they unquestionably skew that way. That doesn't seem to be a major concern for this Indonesian family. They don't have a pet or dog, Instead, a 440-pound croc resides outside in a shallow pool. The reptile, Kojak, has been a member of the family since he was but a shadow of his current enormous form. The family hasn't experienced any significant mishaps in the 20 years that they've owned Kojak, despite how perilous the entire endeavor of keeping his sounds is. Number 13. Queen Alexandra's birdwing. The largest butterfly species known to exist in the world, the Queen Alexandra's birdwing, can spread its wings to well over 11 inches. However, the range isn't as magnificent as its signs. Native to Papua New Guinea's Oral region, the enormous butterflies live in a little area of the country's coastal woodland. In other words, despite having twisted cells, the butterflies are extremely rare, which only serves to increase their demand among exotic pet enthusiasts who are eager to spend top money to get one. For instance, a single Queen of Alexandra's birdwing can sell for between $850 and $10,000 on the illegal market in the United States. Number 12. Giant capybara. With all the sweets, cuddles, and me time in the pool, this capybara is by far the biggest rodent alive. As you can see, he adores being around his owners. The smallest of these enormous rodents weigh an average of just about 80 pounds, with weights ranging widely. On the other hand, the largest capybaras can weigh up to 140 pounds. Outside of human supervision, these rodent kings do enjoy just eating on both terrestrial and aquatic flora. They are completely capable of surviving on their own, but they typically cooperate in groups of up to 40 people. Number 11. Noah the chubby corgi. The corgi is one of the tiniest breeds of dogs, reaching heights of just up to 12 inches and weights of up to 30 pounds. That's what you'd anticipate for the vast majority of corgis, at least. However, such measurements are a little too restrictive for this particular fellow. The chubby corgi with the name Noah is enormous for a corgi and is even regarded as the largest of his kind, if not the largest. At 60 pounds, Noah was twice as large as the typical corgi when he initially became well-known online in 2017. Number 10. Tiger. Which huge cats can you keep the most of? One is usually too many for most of us. A tiger's combined strength and unpredictable nature serve as sufficient dissuasion. The fact that the cat was designed for hunting, though, doesn't disturb Arya Borgs in the least. He owns not one, but 7 tigers, and no, they are not kept in cages like cats or dogs. The bigger cats live in the home with their human family, occasionally jumping into Arya's daughters' beds. In 2005, the Brazilian first met these deadly hunters when he saved a couple from a circus. Number 9. Bear. Jimbo the Kodiak bear is nastier than Kodiak, despite the fact that both are lethal. The bear, which weighs 1,400 pounds, has the power to end this man's life with a single thoughtless swipe. Due to the tremendous size and strength discrepancies, Jimbo was one of the biggest bears in the world, topping several of his pals who weigh on average just around 600 pounds. He was one of the all-time strongest bears. Unfortunately, the kind, caring giant went away a few years ago after spending more than 20 years with his human partner. Number 8. Medusa the anaconda. This is Medusa, a gigantic pet anaconda that a South African woman adopted in 2006 when it was just a few feet long. No one anticipated that the little, adorable Medusa would eventually grow into a gigantic snake about 10 feet long. The pet's owner asserts that it is absolutely harmless and only eats pork. Still, given its size, the capacity of its jaws to accommodate a grown guy like me, and its size, I'll admit, I'm being a little cynical here. However, Medusa demonstrated that this was true when she broke free from her lair in 2022. Despite spending 2 days traversing the streets of Durban, she remained unharmed and was returned home safely. Number 7. Huge pet octopus. This enormous octopus, a master of disguise who can navigate a maze and identify its Aquarius, has a personality that is just as complex as its outward look. The Monterey Bay Aquarium displays a remarkable 16-pound octopus that can jet across the exhibit in a whoosh of water and has developed a strong bond with people. However, you might need to search carefully to discover it, because it can alter its skin tone to blend in with the surrounding rocks and fit itself into teeny, awkward niches. A giant octopus creeping on its owner's arm like a pet is truly wonderful to see. Number 6. Liger. The result of breeding a male lion with a female tiger is known as a liger. Ligers, which are only ever born in captivity, can reach enormous weights of up to 800 pounds and become the largest big cat in the world, dwarfing both the tiger and the lion. The rope on this man might not be very helpful if he goes haywire because that is a lot of power. Ligers largely resemble their parents in terms of looks and habits, with the exception of size. Number 5. Shoebill stork. The shoebill stork is a native of tropical East Africa and is named for its shoe-shaped bill. Although it is a wild bird, it is known to cozies up to human interactions like this despite being relatively huge compared to many other bird species, with an average height of about 4.5 feet. Sadly, the lack of earlier socialization hasn't helped it much if its numbers are any indication. In the bird's natural habitat, shoe-billed eggs and chicks are frequently taken for food and sale. This has significantly adversely affected the population when paired with a few additional elements. Storks might be extinct over the next 2 decades, according to the Essence Shoebill. Number 4. Giant African land snail. The enormous African land snail, originally from East Africa, may now be found on all continents but Antarctica. Thanks in part to snails and their selective feeding behavior, this spread has occurred. With many nations investing enormous efforts to stop its spread, it has acquired the rather harsh distinction of one of the most invasive species on the earth for chewing on whatever shred of leaf it can find. Despite this, many people view the snail as a treasured pet, especially in the UK and France. The species of giant African snails is one of the biggest land snails in the world, generally reaching diameters of up to 8 inches or more and lengths of 3 inches. Number 3. Amazonian giant centipede. The Amazon appears to have several fairly huge forms of typically regular-sized species, despite being the largest forest on Earth. The largest species of centipede on the globe, the aptly called Amazonian giant centipede, is one of these creatures. With a length of 12 inches, it is so large that it has been observed preying on creatures you wouldn't expect it to, including snakes, bats, lizards, and birds. Would you let the centipede crawl on you like this knowing that? Number 2. Weirdo the rooster. The rooster, who was the stuff of folklore throughout the 1970s, was truly awful. The rooster, which was the product of an amateur breeder from California, wasn't your typical fowl. He was nearly 4 times the size of a normal rooster and weighed an astonishing 22 pounds. This automatically made Oddball fashionable and the talk of the town. Being around him was a bit of an extreme sport, even earning him a place in the Guinness Book of World Records as the heaviest chicken alive. For whatever reason, the rooster had a very short fuse and would attack anything he considered to be a bother. In the course of his fame, he murdered 2 cats, and a young rooster, pecked out a dog's eyes, bit off a visitor's fingertip, and more. The rooster known as Strange is more akin to Psycho the rooster. Number 1. Great Dane. It turns out even dogs, man's best friend, can be pretty demanding at home, especially if he's this huge. Wild cats aren't the only animals that may be a hassle. One of the largest dog breeds around is having a terrific day. This fellow towers over pretty much every other dog you can imagine, and if he's not on his hind legs, most adult humans do fall short. His shoulder height is just over 40 inches. Who needs a tiger when you have this amiable, cuddly giant that poses less threat? The Great Dane, despite its name, was not born in Denmark. The dogs were originally raised by German nobles to hunt wild boars, according to their history.